Sorry. Just, you know, when they say you're just a late.
Well, that doesn't explain how you.
Sorry,
Whole screenshot.
Sorry, say that again.
You do a whole screenshot.
Function and print screen.
Print screen. Oh, and then you dump it into a.
And then just right click and paste. Does that work?
Because things are going to expenses in people's accounts rather than onto the credit card people.
So they're two different teams.
No, because you either pay the credit card or you pay you. And for some reason, there were things where what should have been going to the credit card was going into your account. So the credit card was being paid
That's what I want you to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yes, it's somebody put us, yeah, just to see, what's I can delete it. To do it, because I've always done things to start yeah. So, yeah. Stay loose.
Indeed.
Thank you anyway, Judy. Oh, no, I think, yeah, I don't think that either of them particularly want to do that. Wait, so, basically, once it's what time do we want consensus for going to lunch tomorrow? 12:30 is my appointment. Nick, what time did you book the pub for tomorrow for lunch? 12:30.
12:30, I think. Yeah.
So what time shall I tell, so I tell people to be there at 12:30? Should I say?
Yeah, I'm just double checking, but I'm pretty certain it's 12:30.
Yeah, that's fine, and I'm sure everyone goes as fast as they can.
Yeah, 12:30.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, as big as is you. It is. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. I'm maybe doing the instant operation still over the week. So, yeah, just getting busy. I'll go on stand on Friday, which is kind of why I called you. Is anything wrong with Bigfoot? Not currently, no. Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm just on the floors on here at the moment, so it's crazy. What from or Zoom or do something? Oh, really? Both of them.
Right.
It's just a bit strange. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll put the, I'll put his up to this today, so it's reagents in completely, I think. Well, not easy, is it? Yeah. Yeah, so it's me. Yeah, busy with just lots of asking. Currently, they've got Matt Hawley and Scott Haggett on Snow. The week back with me, yeah. Oh no, that's the wrong week. That's mine, probably. You've got mirrors. It's he. Anyway. Their suggestions and concerns, and yeah, I've been sort of trained assessment practical stuff, you know, use yeah. Is it? Yeah, I've seen that, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's it. That's a positive move, but you know, obviously you need guys to command as well, don't you? Well, if it's any consolation, I just think that this month is two vacancies across the board, really. Feeling a bit scant reassurance when we're going into this stuff. Likewise, and if I don't speak to you before, I hope you have a lovely Christmas today. And say hi to the guys, obviously, when I speak to you. All right, thank you. See you later. Bye.
Nick. All right, Sam. All right. How are you? For when and where?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, for what? Oh, right, no, have a look. Who was that just joined? Somebody. Oh, hi there. How you doing? Yeah, good, thanks. Sam's just sending me a heavy rainfall alert for this patch for my. So I'm on covering one of the hydrometry standbys this weekend. Yeah. Yeah. What's your gut feeling though, Sam? Would be anything needed or not? Hmm. Okay. That's a work engaging station on the Thames. That's nice. Right, I think I just heard Rob. That's okay. Well, everybody's here, so Sam's just updating me on likely interesting flows potentially this weekend if we get the heavy rain that's been forecast for. When is it, for tomorrow or for Friday? Yeah. 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 So, yeah, it could be interesting. Anyway, well, thanks everybody for dialing in. So I think this is primarily, I think, about figuring out how many people might attend the Nordic Hydrometry Workshop and who and in what capacity. But I have a call with Karen and Paul on Friday. We have these calls. They have been roughly every 2 months, but Karen's looking to sort of increase the frequency of them to make sure everything's on track. So I've shared with you in the last half hour or so the content of that, just for more information on how the thing looks and who's currently been. Essentially, the names that you see in the boxes are just people that we think would be suitable. It's not at this stage any expectation that those people will necessarily be involved. It's just to kind of give us a structure of who could potentially lead things. So, probably further down. If you, yeah. So we've got an online spreadsheet, but I didn't want to download, so I just sent you Karen's thing and then added to it the sort of time structure. So hopefully it makes some kind of sense. Yeah. Okay, so I mean, I don't know if you if you want me to lead this or if you want to, Rob, but I think perhaps you'd want to give us an outline of what Sue has said on the numbers.
Who hasn't paid?
Hmm.
Okay, so how many people are in it? How much is that? Read Megan to that.
Hmm.
Because I should.
You said the first one was 22.
Yeah.
So you're right. So remove Megan off all your totals now. And then just pays.
Hmm. Hmm. I think I think it's going to be a difficult one, isn't it? It's going to be very difficult because, I mean, these are great events, and I think that's borne out by the fact that Norway, Sweden, well, in fact, all the agencies that attend, with the exception of notably Finland, who usually manages to cost one person. Norway and Sweden, they send pretty much the whole department up to see 25 people, certainly when it's been in Norway and then when it was in Iceland. So they really see the value. Our numbers look a bit miserable, but Rob and I had a discussion about this earlier in the week, and you know, arguably we have to look at a sort of UK total number, so that would include us, NRW, SEPA, and probably one or two people from the Irish agencies, and then we're more like 35 or 40, which is quite a lot from one country. But I do I do wonder how we're going to manage this allocation of places across the areas, and I also wonder how we stop people like Frank from just sending whoever he wants. And I think it's a tricky one. So I mean, I think a key thing for us to do to help us with this is to identify who can lead on things, like who wants to lead on things, who has the skills to lead on things, and what can they bring to it, what can they get out of it. So I think that's quite probably a first step to understanding who should go. No, the total number of people expected is about 100, maybe just over 102 or something like that. Our initial planning, we based upon EA send. I mean, it sort of meshes with what Sue said. We'd originally planned on around 12 from the EA, and I mean, I would have liked more, but it was sort of tempered by reality a bit when we first put that in. I think we had a similar number from NRW, and I'm not sure whether they're going to get all of those people or not. I think what tends to happen is it goes through a circle, and I've seen this with other events of everybody, oh, this is brilliant, and then it's, oh, we can't send many people, and then it gets closer, and everybody says, oh yeah, we can fight it, and they end up sending a lot of people. So potentially NRW will drop back from the 10 or 12 that's currently penciled in, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if when it gets closer they say, actually, we want to send 10 or 12. And SEPA themselves currently are not proposing to be sending many more than us, if any more than us. But again, I wouldn't be so surprised if it gets closer and they start shooing, elbowing people into the sessions, if not staying overnight. They'll probably have one or two people who come along to the sessions, I should think. But I suppose for me then, a question is, are people comfortable with what's been proposed for them to lead? Are there sessions that you think, I mean, if you've got thoughts on the content as well, I mean, we've come up with this list of topics that we want to cover. We had a slightly bigger list and we thinned it down. The structure, if you look up, oops, there's a long thing on mine here, but if you scroll up in the email, you'll see that in the timing list how we were thinking of splitting this thing into 2 rooms. So the core of the workshop is the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then there's some optional stuff on Monday and Friday, and that basically just copies the model that we had in Iceland that worked really, really well. We were able to get some really useful video data for processing with the camera-based methods on the Monday. And then we were able to put some of those methods into practice on the Friday, but those are optional. So the core of this thing is the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Unlike the other events, we have decided to go for a 2-track model for this thing. So we'll have 2 rooms, other than the plenary session, which is a talk we hope from Terry Ahern, who's the chief exec at SEPA, and 1 or 2 others as well. We hope to get to that. Then it splits, and people can go to whatever they think is the most appropriate for them. And yeah, are you, Sam, your name appears in a couple of places. Are you happy with that? Do we think index velocity is good for Richard? Thoughts? Yeah. No, I think that's a very valid observation. Yeah, I would agree entirely. I would agree. I mean, I think we've been slightly, well, probably very, very largely influenced by the structure they've had to date. But we've already changed it in terms of having two tracks. I actually completely agree with what you've just said. It is worth knowing, however, that the format, particularly in Iceland, I don't know if it was the same in Oslo, but it was very interactive. Even so Mark Randall's sessions on surface velocity, everybody was actually at least trying to work through. But there was some presented stuff, and then there was workshop stuff. So Mark would talk people through processing the imagery that we collected on the Monday. So it was interactive in that respect. But I completely agree with you that if we can get more discussion, interaction going on, then that's a desirable outcome for sure. Yeah, that's a good suggestion. I think possibly, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah.
Maybe I'll have a look more at GIS.
Oh, all right, fine, thank you. It's an noisy office, so sorry if you get kind of background.
Yeah.
Maybe people come back from lunch, I think. Tim's not joining us, he said, so yeah, it's all kicking off, isn't it? Thanks for calling in. I just wanted to really follow up after the meeting, because the meeting kind of in the end wrapped up quite quickly, and just follow up over the discussions you've been having. As far as I remember and understand, it was you were having a few discussions about what information people wanted in Sentinel. That right? Something that I'm trying to remember yet. And
Yeah, that's a good
it's just really
suggestion.
following
I
up.
think we had discussed something like that. We'd also got on Friday,
But
we
if you've
had
got plans
penciled
for
in sort of
going
optional
forward,
extra
if
field
you-
exercises and workshop
Yeah,
time.
just really to find out.
So that's another time where that can happen.
Kind of,
And I think,
kind of
you know,
discussing
some
the
people will want to do that, some people
SMEs,
won't.
Still waiting for Amy and
That's
Owen
possible.
to come back with their plans. But I'm kind of aware there's this missing link in areas of operations. And I did have a chat with Neil Creedy following the meeting with you, and he was talking about who he had contacted in areas, but he's putting together a draft paper to outline more contacts. And so I'm just kind of trying to almost, once I get that from him and information from you, almost kind of do a map of who's talked to who, but then also where the gaps are, should we be contacting them for this? So these also that will be as well. So that was the aim of it, really.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, I mean, arguably exactly the same is true for
You did.
for the Icelandic thing, and we had about
Yeah.
40 people or so, I think, on site on the Monday, and a similar number on the Friday. So I think, you know, the acceptance generally is that I know, you know, sometimes it just isn't possible. But I think there's generally a sense that, it is nice to be able to go onto these things, and there's a lot to be learned, and getting the most out of it is a lot of people's priorities. So a lot of people were there on Monday. A lot of people did stick around on Friday, and so I think it's a completely valid point. But I think the dedication of a lot of people involved is such that they do that anyway. But it is certainly a valid point.
Yeah, I'm in Java. Yeah, so
But we certainly found, it was very valuable to the event to have the data that we collected on Monday, and for this one as well. We're feeling that the Monday activities will be to give us data that we can hopefully crunch later in the week, but also making sure the sites are suitable, getting our head around the condition and everything else, so that we don't run into any issues with the field work when it happens on a Wednesday. We've done a sort of a dry run, if you like, to make sure it's all good. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we've kind of got that covered in this bottom one here, but innovative methods, kind of got that covered. But I agree. I think that's important to get in there. The other thing to be aware of is that to date, the focus has been very strongly on river flow measurement, and there's been a small amount of level measurement. There's been actually very little on precipitation. There has been data and rating, good stuff on that. Structures and fish pass, if we do it, would be new. But again, I think we're not, these things are cast in stone. If we decide that we actually feel there's better ways to spend the time than doing structures and fish passes, that structures are covered by rating curves and fish passes are not that central interest to a lot of people attending, then we can always scrub that and put more time into innovation, low cost monitoring. But again, I think things like what Gareth said, primarily water level measurement, so that could go into a water level measurement session, could go into a lunch session.
Yeah. So next week. Potentially next week.
Yeah, we'd had water. Water quality was in there initially as a theme that we were interested to consider whether we want to include it or not. And on the spreadsheet, we've now grayed it out as something we're not going to do. So I think your characteristic eye for detail has probably just spotted something that we probably should have duffed out. I mean, at the time of putting this together, there was a lot of interest in SEPA for seeing the arc boat with the YSI sonde on it. And my personal view is that there's not just my view, there's a wide view that there's a lot of potential benefit in working that way. But at the moment, I think water quality isn't planned to be part of the programme, so that's probably just something we'll scrub out.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it was me. Yeah, oh, no, is that me?
You hold on to the contract.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
So in terms of the in terms of what they awarded this contract on behalf of the institution or like our contract details.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds like a good idea to me. Yeah, okay. We can try to explore that. That's a good idea.
Just wondering whether
See, all these questions, yeah. I mean, no, I mean, it's all really, really good bits, all stuff that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it
but
sounds like we
I
ideally
feel
we
we
want a
should
third room
use,
in
you know,
which we
it
can,
is the stuff that
and it
should
doesn't
be
need to be
really
constrained to
necessary,
just one
so
topic.
stuff you've
Depending on
already
the
done.
size of the room
I'm
and the
glad
layout of
it's
the room,
kind
you could have a small group of
been
people having a
linked
huddle on one
because I
topic
would
and
want
another
it
group
to be duplicated.
having a session on another.
Doing that kind of thing.
Keep it flexible and use it as a room for additional discussions. And
Yes.
yeah, I think that's a really good idea.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so in a way, yes, we've started up with those questions and it's around. I could see you're asking the questions for certain people, but it might be a build up. Yeah, I mean, I think what we're doing is what I would have suggested we need to do.
I'm sure there will be projectors at the hotel, and I'm sure we could ask for an additional one. Sometimes they charge for rental of them. Sometimes it's quite expensive.
Yeah.
I do wonder whether it would be worth our team actually buying one, because I think you can buy low cost ones from about £200 or £300, which is probably what you'd end up paying the rent one. So it could be a useful thing to
So
have.
to stop repetition, really, this has been asked, doing that. Because what I don't want to do is repeat what you're doing and almost stepping on your toes and repeating it when people get fed up because it's this has been asked and you linked up and that link up's been made. So I think yeah. Exactly, and I don't want to do that. It's all part of making sure it's linked up, but part of, yeah.
Okay, well that's good. And I suppose the other thing we haven't really touched on,
You've got,
sort of hinted at, is this business of sharing the thing. So
when do you feel you would?
one way to increase the value of the whole thing with options such as YouTube, because I've seen a couple of presentations recently that have been streamed live on YouTube and it's really effective. It appeared you needed 1,000 subscribers to do that, which of course we don't have. But bizarrely, if you stream from your laptop using the webcam, you don't need, there's no subscriber limit. So I'm actually live streaming from my laptop right now, and you can see it on YouTube. I'm going to send you. There's a slight lag on it, but if you look now, you'll see my hand wiggling around in the picture. Really like, yeah. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? Here's my banana. Okay. Yeah. So it'll work much better in Chrome, I'm sure. Yeah. But anyway, I just did that to demonstrate just that I've managed to crack that. It takes a day to set up, so be warned if you do want to do that. The annoying thing, this will mean something to Sam as much as everyone else. The Toughbook has 2 cameras on it. There's a relatively crappy webcam that faces you on the screen side and a much better one on the side that faces away. I can't find a way for YouTube to access a better one, because if we could, we'd more or less have this cracked. But another thought on this, and this is kind of for Gareth and maybe to discuss with Andy if he's got any knowledge on this as well, is sometimes something that's done at the conferences that's very effective is to have 2 windows, one showing what's on the screen and one showing the presenter. Alternatively, we can cut in between the 2, but that requires somebody to be sort of editing the feed and managing it. Does anybody know how that's done? Certainly something to look into between now and the event. And when we have this tricky discussion around, we've only got a limited number of places, if we can be confident that we can do live streaming of this thing and recording of the important sessions, that hopefully will help to make people a bit happier that they can't spend as many as they might like to.
Are you going to be using, so when you do that search, are you going to be doing a general search, or are you going to be going to kind of organisations such as CUH Learn or something to see what they're producing, what they're using as the basis?
Well, yeah, I think one thing to throw into the mix and thinking about this is an option to potentially add value to this thing is that we might have people, a number of EA staff assemble somewhere to have almost like a second centre. You might get 10, 15, 20 people who would have a live feed to the thing, and then during breaks that we have, they'd have breaks together. Any value in that kind of approach? So people have that Because one of the great benefits of attending these things is that you meet other people and you interact with them and you discuss what you just heard. If we were able to, you know, rather than have it streamed to potentially anybody and everybody, although we could aim for that as well. If we had a central venue or two where folks from a few areas got together to sort of remotely participate, would that add value? That'd be doable.
Oh, okay.